in that aspect. And I feel like T1 can actually take. I think they can.
Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick. Radiant team pick. Doom. 10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
Night Stalker.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick.
Mariska has arrived.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban.
Medusa.
Ten seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Remaining.
안녕.
Behold the
Choose
horn of
wisely.
Magnus. This is bullshit. This is bullshit.
Time for preparation.
这么看着队友不会生气吧？哥哥，
อ้าวเจ้าจังไดนี่ไหวบ่นี่
Those that answer the Rolling Stone. Analysis of data raw today. For you.
Nothing for you.
time.
That was the end for Radiant's career. Fearsome Dire have fortified their structures.
Which my matriarch will prize. A rolling stone. All in a day's work.
Denied.
Radiant's middle tower may need a hand.
Smart money.
Damage on his way out as well. Quite a bit of damage, in fact.
Look out the fallen rocks! They deserved it not.
Is the side.
Yeah.
So it seems like neither team was able to do anything.
To be the ones kind of forcing T1 into uncomfortable spots because, it's a Doom going Midas.
Can actually bail him, not.
Dire's middle tower was in the wrong end of business. Radiant's courier was lost in the heat of battle.
Fountain which my matriarch will prize.
经济倒是跟的确实补得挺快的，杜牧这个英雄，之前7了，全场经济第2。
Que ha ganado 2 TIs.
Sí.
Se ha enfrentado a este tipo de estrategias y dice, no, mira, o sea, yo no te voy a dar el tiempo necesario.
No. Tiene mucha experiencia y le han hecho esto muchas veces. Estos strats
Claro.
de alargar las partidas y sabe cómo contrarrestarlas perfectamente, ¿no? Y yo creo que desde el draft ya se ha visto con ese Tinker, por ejemplo, ¿no? Para también pelear más en early. Que tiene esas horas de viaje. Cuidado aquí, el Doom sobre Seth.
Y la sentencia que viene con toda atención con eso. También Savage, cuidado con esto. La agresión en toda la cara, pero no hay escapatoria. Sepe, pero fíjate cómo aguanta también. Pese a que le dan de todo. Una baja más que se lleva el equipo de T1, al menos en la parte superior. Llegan de forma efectiva y ya gastaste el Doom. Eso también es información para el equipo de OG.
Efectivamente, gastas el Doom. Es verdad que la kill es buena, ¿no? Porque al final es el offlaner, ¿no? Del equipo de OG. Pero bueno, ahora pueden jugar un poquito más agresivos. Mira, ya tiene esa cosa que comentábamos, el Tiny de su main. A ver cuál es el siguiente ítem, si es la daga o es la Shadowblade. Yo creo que uno de esos dos podría ser.
Daga, yo creo, ¿eh?
Sí, yo creo que puede ser. Otra opción sería que quiera ir por unas sanguillas, algo así un poco más de farmeo, ¿no? Y más tipo carry.
Ah, también.
Pero viendo cómo es OG y sabiendo cómo...
El equipo de ha sido lanzado, venga para acá y ojito que Notail también puede llegar a traicionar. O sea, eso no estamos hablando de Notail.
Dire's top tower isn't well at the moment. Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is done.
É isso, é só até quando o Denar vai pra cima ou ele quer a BKB antes? Ele vai dar uma segurada.
Geralmente é isso aí, geralmente esses heróis Doom, pode até comparar com outros heróis Face, eles Spike, geralmente eles farmam, utilizam Ultimate e continuam farmando nesse intervalo de tempo. Mas uma coisa interessante dos dois drafts, né, com esse começo do Tiny, eles podem, e é muita cara da OG fazer isso, eles podem simplesmente começar a farmar a jungle da Medusa ao invés de farmar a própria jungle, porque eles estão tão fortes,
O chefe da rosa de liga vai pra debaixo da estrutura número 3. Era de 2 jogadores até 1. Querem briga. Chegou o Ku. Mandou condenar com o raio solar sobre o Thompson. Vai conseguir esse solar. Bate o chefe, quase cai. Ele tá correndo. O Saxon vai no limite. É cobrado na sequência e não vai cair o Tinker.
É, condenatizado, o Strays telou pra ajudar na defesa da torre, morreu instantaneamente, nem parecia uma Medusa, secar a mana dele instantânea, enquanto isso o Sumeio tá farmando, né? Ele tá tranquilo farmando, tem 4 heróis acabando com o jogo, ele tá ficando gigante.
O Sumeio não tá sendo incomodado.
Foi desastroso isso pra ter, eles perderam a torre do mid, perderam o HC, tomaram dive, perderam 2 heróis ali, mas conquistaram muita coisa. Enquanto tudo isso aconteceu, o Sumeio tá farmando.
Nem tá participando de nada, efeito Tinker e a gente vê claramente que Seb e Noteu compram o máximo de visão possível para que o Topson fique defendendo as suas habilidades. Maximizou o míssil termoguiado, maximizou o laser. Tá sozinho o Cuco aqui pra parte de baixo. Saxa, já viu ele. O Tinker vai dando a rotação no meio, joga pra cima na bola de basquete. O Cuco já foi finalizado. O Topson ainda consegue chegar pra pegar esse abate. É um Tinker que participou de 7 de 12 kills. Ele tá 3/0/4.
Pressão da OG, pega um abate agora no Doom. E é isso, agora é começar a farmar a jungle da Medusa e não deixar ter um respirar.
Onde que tá essa Medusa? Tá na floresta e a gente já vê que guarda-costa, né? O White Moon tá sempre com ele. Pra tentar fazer uma coisa, tentar jogar esse corpo na frente e impedir com que o seu H7 seja amor. O triângulo seguro já foi meio que invadido pela equipe da OG. Eles colocam, né, uma sentinela observadora pra ver ou pra tentar pegar algum pick-off. Vai subir sobre a floresta da linha superior. Kaur observou, ameaçou a inversão de qualidade. A caramba de choque acabou não encaixando sobre o Seb. É muita pressão mesmo. A Medusa ela não tá farmando, enquanto o Tiny ele meio que não se preocupa, ele avança, bate um pouco na torre e aí rotaciona pra floresta.
Esse Magnus Mid é muito problemático, eles vão terem deixado o Doom, porque ele ainda fez um Eco Sabre, então tipo, até ele tirar essa dagger e ele conseguir ter um impacto pra essa equipe vai demorar muito. Vai demorar muito. Eu acho que ele deveria ter rushado a dagger, já que ele foi mid.
Seria uma opção, acabou... Devastar utilizado no momento do aterrorizar. Tentou espantar o Tide Hunter. Faltou um tapa para ele ser pego. O Noteio vai tentar esse abate, mas ele acaba errando. Desigualdade esmagadora, ele não acerta no Tide. Quem cai é apenas offlane da OG.
Conseguiram uma finalização ali no Seb. Teve que utilizar o Ravage, o Tide. Ainda assim, tiveram que correr por ele. Ficou todo mundo bem meado. O Tsunei segue farmando. Boa defesa, pelo menos, para ele da equipe do T1.
Lembrando que esse Tide Hunter é suporte 5 para quem tá chegando agora. Será que vai solar? Fênix vai solar o Sop, mas não desce o Hunter. E ainda vinha o míssil termoguiado. Cara, hoje não quer perder essa torre de baixo, hein? Vão achar o Cuco. Tem que condenar o Doom. Vai pra cima, o dano mágico vai entrando. Vai dar o teleporte, não tem mais vazio, mas tem duelo da Legion Commander. Não tem, já gasta essa habilidade para garantir o seu segundo duelo vencido.
Segundo ela, pra ele não, como suporte não é importante esse dano, né? Ele tá mais focado em utilizar a segunda, é mais pelo controle mesmo, mas um danozinho a mais aí pro seu time.
E se não tivesse ele ali, teria saído novamente vivo.
Com certeza.
Bom papel executado pelo Sub 5, capitão e dono. Capitão não mais, né? Mas dono da equipe da OG, antiga Monkey Business. Acharam mais um jogador e é a Medusa. O 23 Seb de HC, ele fica impressionado. O White Moon não tem ultimate, só aceita a morte. 5 abates em cima dele, o K13.
O trabalho de wards da OG e da T1 tá surreal a diferença. Você olha para as wards da T1, as wards dos últimos 6 minutos foram todas defensivas. Eles não têm... Isso é o mapa da T1, ó. Você é a Medusa e você tá vendo isso. Nada. Você não sabe onde tá o outro time, você não tem noção. E já as wards da OG, eles têm wards deles saindo da base, tem ward no triângulo, ward avançado, então eles sabiam exatamente que a Medusa estava ali sem ter uma ward ali, porque eles têm noção inteira do que tá acontecendo no mapa.
Caraca, tá tudo dominado aqui embaixo, velho.
Eles mantêm a pressão de wave nas 3 rotas, somada a visão das wards, eles dominam completamente o mapa.
A Fênix já foi morta, acabou gastando a sua supernova. Não consegue brigar com a equipe completa. Duelo utilizado pelo Noteio. Para não ser levado para longe, o aterrorizar. Acaba encaixando, compra tempo para que o Noteio não forneça o dano adicional para cima do cara. Ele vai acabar sendo eliminado. Mas até aí é um suporte 5, então tá tudo bem.
Tranquilaça. Deu o duelo, comprou tempo. Farmaram o triângulo enquanto isso. Os 3 Savage tentando a todo custo tirar algum farm, mas tá difícil. 8 mil de diferença.
Você é um jogador que ainda joga de forma competitiva, tá acostumado, você respira o Dota 2. Numa situação dessa, como a T1 joga? É realmente andar todo mundo recluso perto da Medusa e comprar esses itens?
Então, cara, eu posso falar mais baseado no que eu assisto do que eu não jogo de competitiva, né? Totalmente diferente o nível. Claro que eu jogo as qualificatórias da PC e tal, mas é uma diferença absurda. O que eles têm que fazer é bater smoke e tentar pegar kills em heróis importantes. Tentar matar Stein, tentar matar o Tinker, é o que dá pra eles fazerem. Porque eles têm menos farm, eles têm menos visão. Então, tipo assim, tem que pegar kills pra abrir o mapa. Ou você manda um herói jogar a PSG, por exemplo. Quando a PSG ela tá perdendo jogos assim, ela simplesmente manda um herói pra uma long e aí deixa ele lá consumir o máximo de tempo possível.
Eles não conseguem pegar esses kills. Na verdade, eles podem até virar pra cima da T1, porque a T1 tá jogando espaçada. São 3 heróis aqui na parte do meio. Essa estrutura de número 2, talvez ela nem seja protegida. Gasto fortificar agora a equipe do Sudeste Asiático.
Se fosse o time da PSG perdendo esse jogo no lugar da T1, teria o Magnus no top, ele puxaria 3 vezes e ele morreria depois de abrir espaço para a Medusa farmar.
Quem morreu foi o Sumeio, desculpa, o Noteio. Olha onde eles estão indo para pegar esse abate. O grupo quase finalizado. Veio o 23 Savage para tentar proteger o seu offlane e acaba conseguindo. Mas olha, T2 da rota de baixa, as torres de baixa foram prontamente destruídas pela equipe do OG, que segue com 16-11 no placar aos 20 minutos, 8k de vantagem. Tiny cada vez maior.
O draft T1 para ele funcionar, ele precisava que a Medusa batesse 3, 4 itens. O problema é que ela não tem onde farmar, né? Ela tá pegando as sobras ali das waves. Vez ou outra ela consegue farmar o triângulo. Mas a diferença tá ficando muito gritante já. Tem um item a mais o Tiny que a Medusa. E eles fazem isso, eles batem smoke, vão ver se tem algum herói. Então, uma situação bem complicada para o T1.
Sim, quase 0 de visão aqui pela equipe do T1. Eles colocam uma sentinela para poder pegar possivelmente um Tinker ou alguém que esteja escondido nessa área. A OG joga para o seu lado do mapa. O Tiny já tá marcando a sua Satanic.
Satanic.
Meu senhor, 3.100 de vida.
É.
Possui o Tiny.
Ainda tem um buff da Legion ainda, KBKV, ainda tem resistência estática do Tinker. Vai ficar meio difícil de...
Vai ficar meio difícil. Não vai ser uma tarefa muito fácil. O fragmento já foi feito, aí ganha esse buff do forçar ataque. Essa mini BKB ali, fora o controle também que ela retira. A meio escondidinha, o Thompson tá com medo de ser pego aqui na parte superior, já terminou seu cetro de Agni. Então ganha ali um aprimoramento no laser. Daqui a pouco fragmento para ter a marcha das máquinas.
Não tenho visto a galera fazer a chart, sim, não tenho visto. Eles investem mais em Dagon, alguns fazem Etherlanes, outros fazem Bites. Até a Dagger de força, né, já vi. Alguns também.
Tem fumaça para a equipe do OG. A T1 vem subindo. A Medusa e seu esquadrão claramente estão protegendo aqui o 23 Savage, andando com alguns seguranças. Tá escondido, vai Stalker. Ameaça ir pra cima, Seb só incomoda. Enquanto o Roshan vai sendo finalizado, enquanto o Roshan vai sendo feito, a equipe da T1 não consegue porque trancou a porta. Olha o que fez o Sax, ele tranca a porta e o Roshan pegou de forma tranquila. O posicionamento é, Night Stalker dá a visão, o Sax impede a movimentação e a OG faz o Roshan.
Foi bem rápido, bem tranquilo. Night Stalker usou o ultimate, a equipe da T1 ficou com medo. Dark colocou o labirinto de spins muito bem posicionado. O feito em uma hora muito boa pela OG.
Edge de mortal na mão do Sumeio, ele não havia caído, imagina cair 2 vezes, né? São 4 minutos e meio para trabalhar com este item dropado do Roshan. Vão tentar pegar aqui o Core. Sumeio já viu isso, mandou a avalanche, vai tentar um lançamento, não consegue ver sua qualidade, pode ser pego agora sim, o debaixo da torre, o Cuco chega, mas já tá punido, já tá finalizado, tá preso, o Cuco vai ser o próximo alvo do abate do Thompson, vão virando pra cima do Sheffer, acompanha ele e não para. O Thompson tá monstruoso, dando uma aula de Tinker, ele nem sequer foi pego, não sei se ele tá sendo visto pela equipe da T1.
Sim, tá 7/0, né? O Sumeio tá 2/0/1, agora pegou mais uma finalização. O Thompson fazendo um game perfeito, né? Conseguiu botar muita pressão no mid. Ele que não teve o last pick, né? Eles deram last pick magros contra esse Tinker, ou seja, o draft dele estava fortalecido nas escolhas anteriores e ele fez o trabalho dele no mid mesmo sem last pick. Impacto gigantesco.
Tá muito grande, tá bem no jogo, a equipe do AG tá consistente. 12 mil de vantagem, o Sumeio vai aproveitando para agora subir. Subiu o terreno elevado, batendo na estrutura número 3. White Moon escondido, ele tem DBK, mas ele não tem a naga, ele vai ter que sair andando. Ou utiliza o ultimate ali mesmo. Sumeio segue defendendo sobre a estrutura, quase caiu. O Car vai para cima, tem lançamento utilizado e não consegue buscar o Magnus.
Tem muita coisa ainda. Isso que o Tinker nem tá usando ainda a terceira em cima do Tiny. Eles estão só trabalhando o buff ainda da Legion.
Cara, tá complicado isso. E vai sendo colocado à prova contra mais uma boa equipe. Na verdade, é bicampeão mundial de Dota 2.
Eles viram que a Lei já tá sem buff por enquanto. Achei que eles iam tentar alguma coisa, mas...
Só o Tiny aparecendo, ó. Agora no TV veio pra cima também. Dropar uma sentinela reveladora. Subiu isso meio. Consegue uma bala de lançamento. Já foi explodido primeiro. Vão virando agora pra cima do 23-7. Dá a pancada. Toma o laser. Não consegue bater. Se a Medusa tentar, ela vai acabar errando os golpes. A perseguição do Topson. Vai pra debaixo da Supernova. Vai querer pegar o 23-7 dela. Mas ele consegue continuar com o defensivo. Topson vai jogando muito. A Legion Commander já ajudou bem. Raios Larson meio quer chegar pra cima. Consegue o lançamento. É cesta de 3 pontos feita. Com o terror debilitante. A Fênix não consegue dar o seu rasante de Ícaro. E a OG derruba a T3 e sobe para derrubar os quartéis.
O OG tá dando uma aula de Dota pra T1, né? Cara, o Topson simplesmente brincou atrás da T3. E tomou Ravage, tomou skill e ficou vivo. É isso.
O que tu já acertou aí?
já passei pro lado de cá. Já passei pro lado de cá que eu já senti. Não sei porquê.
O K13 já tá se preparando aqui pra voltar pras câmeras. E realmente, né? Pelo Dota que a gente tá apresentando, parece que o jogo não vai durar mais.
Sim. A OG trabalhando tudo muito bem, né, cara? O Sumei com a lane fez excepcional. Magnus não fez por onde. Além dele perder a lane dele, ele fez o Marco Sabre. Então, tipo, se tu build o Marco Sabre perdendo a sua lane, além de você não produzir nada pro seu HC, você consome espaço dentro de fácil. Isso é muito ruim.
Quer pegar o carro? Será que vai cair? Não, eu utilizo para a forma defensiva. Sumei não liga. Ainda tem 1 minuto e 20 de edge. É só bater aqui nesse estrutura número 3. Deu um tapinha. Aí a torre já perde ali um daninho. A pressão é da OG, a pressão é da bicampeã. A gente comentou lá no meu Instagram que a OG seria campeã novamente, a tricampeã da International. Será, K13? É uma equipe boa, tem pressão.
Com certeza tem muita chance. Vai disputar aí com a IG, com a PSG e com a IG, na minha opinião. São os 4 favoritos.
Ele tá escondido, ele esperou uma oportunidade pra ver se ele encaixava uma inversão de qualidade boa. Só que joga espaçada demais a OG. É basicamente se o meio aparece, se quiser utilizar a habilidade, vai ser um herói só. O resto não vai ser pego. E se utilizar a habilidade do Sumeio, eu tenho Saxa e Noteio bem posicionados atrás para protegê-lo. Tá muito fácil, olha isso. Não dá, ninguém pega, foi explodido. Já caiu o primeiro, vai pra cima. Sumeio não tem medo, vai demais. Eu tô esperando com pouquíssima vida. BKB ligado, ele não tá mudando. Supernova e cai o Edge do Imortal. Mas às custas de BKB e Supernova.
É, só remover a ES e isso é GG, né? É só chamar o GG aí. O primeiro jogo aí excepcional da OG.
Pegaram o Tinker, hein? Acabou abusando aqui, ele não tem recompra. E não consegue levar os quartéis. Erro debitante do Seb, consegue ir pra cima do Tide Hunter. 2 segundos, 1 segundo para sua ultimate. Vai tentar recuar agora a equipe da OG. Vai tentar sair dali o Sax. Ameaçou a inversão, não utilizou. Controlado, Core, erro debilitante sobre ele. Se cair vai ficar difícil, debatar foi gasto muito tarde, segurou ult demais. Tenta pegar o Seb, a finalização vem, mas não tem recomenda da mão do Magnus. Segue brigando, o duelo encaixado sobre o duo, acaba não sendo efetivo. Condenar, Saxa tá morto, Noteio, senta o tapa, ele não pode usar o kit de habilidade, mas o dano é indefesado, vai virando agora pra cima do 23 que tá enraizado, joga pra cima, lançamento, fica abandonado, Noteio, segue brigando, Ultra kill dele, vem, teremos um massacre do menino Sumeio The King! O mid laner mais novo a vencer o The International lá em 2015, volta pra 2010, 5 anos depois, pra fazer um massacre triplo em cima da T1. Que isso, K13?
Eles brigaram sem o Topson ainda, né? Eles estavam tão fortes, eles tinham um plano de jogo tão bom que Rampage aí de Sumeia, 4v5, Tiny muito forte, né? O trabalho de equipe do OG foi surreal, cara. A maneira como eles dominaram todas as zonas de farm no early game foi absurdo. Enquanto eles estavam consumindo espaço mid, né? Rotacionando no mid, tinha uma Dark Willow pegando experiência no bot. Seb veio no nível 6 pressionar a runa de efeito do Magnus. O Topson conseguiu finalização sobre o Magnus com a ajuda da Legion. Então você vê que eles se movimentam muito, de maneira muito inteligente. Eles distribuem a experiência e o gold deles no mapa de maneira absurda.
5 seconds remaining.
What did you expect?
Dire's middle tower is under fire. Dire's middle tower met its end.
Look out for fallen rock!
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower lies in ruins. Farewell to Dire's bottom barracks. Dire's bottom barracks are gone.
Are you talking to me?
Dire's middle tower is Dire's middle barracks are under attack.
Rolling out!
Dire's middle tower is in the wrong end of business.
I move around.
Dire's middle barracks are getting it now.
Rolling out!
Dire's middle tower is under fire.
I move around.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
What did you expect?
Stay together.
Monster kill! Rampage!
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant victory.
Away from them, I feel like they're cruising through this game. and they got it on lock. For Thunder Predator's sake, I hope that they are able to prove us wrong.
Radiant team.
And you seem very convinced that it was super obvious.
I mean, to me, it feels like if you see Night Stalker in this patch, you have to think Thinker. You have to be aware of the option.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious to insane. That's the thing. Is
he's got a very big brain.
Exactly. There's maybe 3 or 4 players who could have come. Luckily, 2 are here at the casting desk, so I you through it.
Radiant team
not every
pick.
player. It's quite
player.
Dire team pick.
3 or 4.
Maybe Kuro could.
Kuro, but he's not here at TI.
Exactly.
So
and maybe
that makes Aiden the smartest man at TI, perhaps.
Certainly.
I feel like Puppy would have seen it come.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's
the 4 of us: me, Kyle, Puppy, and.
That's true. I mean, that is the Mount Rushmore of Dota right there.
Yeah.
Honestly, when I think about it.
George Washington.
Okay. Can you name any of the
I
others?
don't know any others.
Perfect. All right. I'm hoping T1. Like,
hell yeah.
I was setting this up and I was like, I was imagining these guys just 5-man brawling against each other.
Now, this is where I can shine. Hero is my sleeper pick for TI. Okay?
Kyle, they're not playing at mid.
It doesn't have to be mid. It's an offlaner or it's a support. It's one of the best shards. I love it as an offlane because you can buy literally anything. I vote Mage Slayer. You go Dragonlance, Mage Slayer, and you just rain down liquid fires and reduce everybody's magical damage. Unfortunately, this pick from OG is flawless. They love playing with the cleanse. Oracle sucks. LC, fantastic. This removes Root, Leech Seed, Ice Bath, all of those things.
I'm so confused why they drafted double like heroes that are super affected by the cleanse mechanic of Legion Commander when they just got handled by Legion.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but Treant has had a really high win rate today. I think almost every single game that I've seen today specifically has looked really. It feels like it's hard to teamfight into, and I think T1 played it against VP.
And that was their 33-minute victory. So
yeah.
I think that their concept with this is pick something. They stacked it with the Spectre, which is because obviously dispersion damage is reduction,
Yeah.
and then you just take no damage because of all the stacking heal. Also a great laner, and I believe they also play it, I think, off lane more often than not, which is safe. Kiro, I hope they end up in a lane against Monkey. You kind of just have to dodge the LC, no matter what role this Jakiro. That's a very annoying lane. Just going to trade mana for his remaining.
Yeah, so this is something I realized when I was playing a lot of Destruct a while back in Legion Command.
5 seconds
But
remaining.
I can spend all my gold on mana. You can buy 12 mangoes,
Yeah.
and you just keep spamming him, and he just has to keep purging himself. And then eventually, if he doesn't get to Soul Ring within the first couple of purges,
Yeah.
then you have a pretty nice time in the lane against them.
So I agree with you, but this is going to be no Tails hero.
It
And
could
that
be.
changes
That
everything.
could
Now
be,
he's just
exactly.
buying 12 mangoes
Precisely.
back.
Exactly. So if they get that situation going, and this is the strength of Legion Commander over some hero like Oracle, right? You don't really see like Oracle being flexed. I think if anyone would, maybe Thompson would play it mid, but I don't think he is going to. So this Legion Commander gives OG this really nice flexibility. They can run it on Seb.
Yep.
They can run it on No Tail. I could imagine them running it on Thompson. It
Yeah.
doesn't seem unlikely to me.
Well, it just checks a lot of boxes. You know, when you think about what goes into a draft, like just stuns and damage and tower push and yada, yada, yada. LC gives you two things that are very tough to find, which is hard
10 seconds
BKB piercing
remaining.
lockdown and a
Radiant
defensive
team
dispel that with
back.
the new shard also gives you the BKB mechanic, plus it's an attack speed steroid. So also a great laner. You're just covering all these bases with just this one pick. Plus, of course, being multi-role in the hands of OG is incredibly impactful. This is their TI drafting in a nutshell. Like, they're opening picks, most cases, and it is here, both heroes can be played as supports or cores. This is the Enchantress Earthshaker of TI9.
I think this has been like every team that has done well in the early stages of the group have been really good about making sure that the
10
picks are
seconds remaining.
And I think this is a consequence of the way the draft changed, the pick order.
Yeah.
Second pick suddenly
5
has two
seconds remaining.
counter picks. That basically forces you as first pick to pick flexible heroes. Then I think people adapted that.
Now, during the break, we were actually talking a little bit, and you were talking about how a lot of the top-tier teams, they have very open playstyles where they're able to do every single kind of strategy at a very high level. They can play slow, they can play super objective. T1, where would you rate them when it comes to playstyle versatility? Because I feel like I've seen the same kind of heroes, certainly the same heroes over and over again. And I feel like kind of the same strategies of a lot of team fight, but also scaling. Like, where do you rate T1 as have a decent amount of versatility? Where would you put them?
I think T1 is a little bit more one-track minded. Example, where they will be very, very good at executing their style of draft. I think we saw it in like the VP.
5 seconds
that if you put them up
remaining.
against a team that both teams just want to, and you got to fight to win the game, they're going to be really, really good. They're going to be mechanically better than most teams here at playing those fights out. But I think a team like OG, what they've been really smart about during this event is just keep playing mismatched timings. If the enemy team is drafting something really, really slow, they'll play something very fast.
Yeah.
And
I was just going to say, I'm sure, you know, it's a lot like different MMA. If you have two brawlers, two guys that want to go up and beat up on each other, T1's going to thrive. They love that. OG, they're grapplers. They don't want to stand up against you. They're going to take you to the ground. You're not really able to play to your strengths. You're not hitting anybody. You're just trying to get out of the pin. In this case, T1, they do certainly have a reliance on the fighters. We saw that at the anime a lot on Magnus and Wyvern specifically. Now they're sticking to that, you know, with a Tide support, a Doom offlane. They're just, you know, with Phoenix Egg, like 4 of their heroes are just huge ultimate team fight, and then a Medusa. OG, they have no intention of ever team fighting you. They have a massive advantage, or a couple heroes picked off already, controlling vision, and this is probably my favorite hero to watch OG play, the Ember Spirit. Excellent against Jakiro Tree.
And now you have the Rubik for the instant disable. Now they have, if you look at their stuns, like almost all of these stuns, Storm cannot easily dodge them, or he has to keep them all
10
in mind.
seconds remaining.
I've actually not loved Rubik so much in most games, but I do think, and I noticed this when I played it, that when you pick it as a late pick and a counter pick, so like for example, Jakiro and Root is very easy to steal, so is the Ice Path. Even if you steal Dual Breath, I feel like it does so much damage.
It's so good.
Yeah, and you have the cast range to really effectively use and the big mana pools.
This is the hero playing Jakiro. I think this, I think even more so than Earth, Kiro is hard countered by Rubik.
I don't know so much about it being countered. Like, Jakiro still is Jakiro, but I think Rubik becomes a better hero when he's playing against Jakiro.
Yeah, like, I get liver face. I think it's the best hero to play against. Because even if you steal Macropyre, the damage increase, that is an absurd amount of DPS.
So I've played fair amount of Rubik. I played like roughly 1,000 games of it.
Really?
By far my most played hero. Yeah. And something that I always look for in looking for a good Rubik game, I want to make sure that I have a farming tool. I think that's why, like, for example, Earthshaker is good, but Fissure's not really a spell you want to farm with. You can't use it to push out waves. But Jakiro here gives him a way to do that. Treant gives him a way to do that with the root. You don't really want to steal troll spells because you're gonna end up turning into melee form.
Yeah.
And then Storm's like whatever. You can steal his pull, which is actually surprisingly not bad when you get the extra cast range and you can pull people from forever. Pretty nice. So overall, it's a pretty good Rubik game, and I think the nice thing about it too is that he has a lot of frontline. A lot of heroes here want to go in. He's not really going to be a priority target, and he doesn't have to use his lift to initiate, which I think is a pretty
Radiant team ban.
It also is really nice when you have 3 going in.
Yeah.
Because suddenly you're going to be in a position as T1 where you have to use your spells to react. Like there's an Ember, a Monkey King, LC, like reminds me of True Sight, you know, that they're bouncing the trees, firing forward. So you're going to have to throw out these spells.
Remaining.
And Rubik is going to casually just grab something high value.
Yeah. They're going to be overwhelmed with all the other stuff going on. So he will get good spells here. And Sox is actually a very good Rubik. I don't know if you guys have very, very good Rubik.
I think that's you're talking about the fact that this Rubik has these heroes that are going to go in for him. So I feel like initiation is kind of important. And I've noticed this trend that is on at TI right now, where we're seeing like Weavers run as 4 positions. We've seen like how heroes like Legion Commander are just kind of playing in front of the enemy. As you were saying, like you called it like No Tail was playing where the enemy kind of like wants to be. He just Monkey King 4 position, really great example of like this support that gives vision. I feel like OG have that vision advantage between first 2 picks. I'm pretty sure Monkey King is going to be core and Legion the support, but it could be the other round.
It could be literally anything here. Like it could be played by Thompson. Could have this Legion Rubik lane is really strong. It could be mid Ember, Monkey King 1 with a Legion 5. Like they have a lot of different options here. They could run the Monkey 4. I mean, No Tail also plays Rubik. Thompson plays Rubik mid if they want to. Like when I look at this draft, and like if you couldn't put, because here you kind of what you gotta do as T1 is you gotta go by probability. Like based on the heroes that we have, what matchups do we think OG wants? And that's how you kind of figure out which hero is gonna go.
Radiant team pick.
In OG's position here, like they just have the option of picking pretty much whatever
team pick
based on what they want to do.
Slark.
Oh, I love it. I've been waiting for somebody to pick Slark. It has all the things. Like I've always loved Slark Ember as a combination, just because you have so much in and out pressure and map control.
Yeah.
Have a cleanse, which I think is key. Same reason I've always loved Oracle Slark, because if you can just save him for that split second, you're now in a great position.
5 seconds remaining.
The shard is OP. Another reason. And you're against a troll. So those axes for mischance are dispellable.
Yeah.
Slark's going to be spamming Q. It's also incredible against the Treant. Kiro, all of the spells of T1 are removable. It used to be Storm was incredible against Slark, but now the Pounce that leashes actually makes you more of an offensive threat to the hero.
Yeah, so you touched on the Purge effect, or the Cleanse effect.
Supposedly I'm wrong, but I always think like it's a dispel.
Kyle, you are never wrong.
I mean, cleanse isn't an actual term in Dota. It just happens to be a nice term that I find.
You're never wrong, Kyle. We'll listen to you. Anyways, Slark is weak to getting initiated on, right? The whole trick is you catch him when he's not ready for it. And when you have a hero like Legion, you have a Cleanse draft. That option is suddenly gone. You no longer want to initiate on him because, see, the Legion commander, the Slark is always going to get burst. And I think this Venge, again, is like, it's a little bit of a weird last pick. It doesn't address the problems that they have. But I do think Vengeful Spirit's a strong hero, and it kind of has a racing effect where it spawns again. And I would assume the illusion does not give stack. That's it.
Correct.
So, like, if it's very small, it doesn't actually, like, gameplay-wise, doesn't really matter. But I think, yeah, I think Venge is a pretty cool hero.
It is hard save, after all, but I was actually thinking we have the same.
I think this game they can fight though. Like if OG runs at them, they have the ability to fight back. They have damage. They have spells that are usable to get kills. Like I think whilst killing Slark is gonna be killing the other 4 is not necessarily the case. They have a troll lane against Monkey King. See how that goes. It's Monkey Rubik against, I assume. Oh, actually, never mind. Hero 4, right?
Well, specifically with these two,
yeah,
they can play it either way.
Okay,
like they're
so they
very
swap the
comfortable
lanes
in being
around.
able to
I see.
swap lanes. So
I see.
which would you rather have the Jakiro as a ranged hero against Monkey King?
So something OG can do that's really cool is they can put Legion Commander with the Monkey King off lane, and then Slark into safe lane where they have 2 purges, so Jakiro no longer has a good lane.
I think that's the key, and this is why I believe Kel is playing the LC here, because to Aiden's point earlier, as a core LC against this Jakiro spamming mangoes and harassing you, at a point you like run out of mana. You're trading regen, which is not what you want to do as a core against a support. But as a 5 position, Notel is very content. Just, you know, you trade better than Jakiro. You're going to run at him, you're going to spam Q, spam W. Your core in the game. So I think wherever Jakiro goes, find Notel in that.
Looking good.
I can see them laning it either way. Like Rubik Slark also feels a bit weird. And I generally think Slark, because of the way his hero works, he wants to run up and trade with you. Having some sort of sustain that allows you to use Essence Shift is quite important for his laning phase. So
And one that gives you extra attack speed too. That sounds pretty sick.
Bad. Yeah, not too bad.
Point as well. It's another LC. It's just such a great hero.
Specifically with the heroes being run right now.
Yes.
Tiny. Okay,
Makes
if they're
a lot
going to
of
do
sense.
Slark, that's really good.
Yeah.
Sven has been popular right now. That's
Precisely.
another one.
You talking to me?
Did you happen to see our last series? Secret versus SG.
I caught bits and pieces.
Did you see the that was the best Ogre Magi Fire Shield I've ever seen in my life.
No, I don't.
Because, I mean, have you experimented with
Yeah, I've
Fire
played a little
Shield?
bit of Ogre.
It doesn't really feel like that amazing, right?
I actually think it feels pretty good most of the time. Yeah.
All right. Well, my experience has
Yeah.
not been like amazing, but
Yeah.
they were specifically played up against Sven Io, Earthshaker Core, Chant Totem,
Told you a
and Mars.
storm was coming.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
God damn.
You're reducing a lot of damage.
It was pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
And now I just, you know, like I always think that I love support experimentation.
Yeah. I think this whole Legion 5, right, it started with Puppy at Hamburg a couple of years back.
Yeah, that was a long time
And
ago.
I think it was a pretty interesting interview that they asked him, like, why are you playing 5? And he just answered, well, all the 5s are just bad. And why not play a core? And that, I think, opened up this idea of, like, running a lot more heroes.
I think, yeah, exactly. And you also just don't have to spend as much gold, right? Buy a sentry. Everything else can be spent on yourself. And else, like, they're really, the support role has kind of changed to just farm creep. But it comes down to what's the best kit. Like, what gives my allies the most support within a game. And LC just, you know, BKB lockdown is really tough to come by. I also wanted to touch on OG's final bans. I thought were really... Don't like the Venge as much as perhaps the Darkseer or Enigma, which were banned out. Because T1, they didn't have that big AoE ultimate finisher. And that's also, of course, to cover the Slark that's coming.
Yeah.
An Enigma pick would have actually been real nice, even with already on your team.
Yes. I think it's very similar to how Rubik and Jakiro interact. It makes Rubik's game better, but it doesn't necessarily counter Enigma's game. Enigma still does what Enigma wants to do. So whether Rubik is there or not, it doesn't really change anything for that matter. But, like, whether you should pick it or you can't.
Now, for anybody who's tuning in and maybe doesn't watch a ton of Dota, can you guys break down very simply what are the strengths of T1's lineup and what are they looking for compared to OG?
Okay, so I think T1, in order to win this game, they need to do well in the lanes, and then they need to use the advantage they get in lanes, stop OG from running at them. Because OG is going to hit a timing similar to the last game, where T1 is trying to farm the Vengeful Ags, they're trying to get Storm's items, and they're trying to farm up the Troll, and they need to play kind of like response Dota. And when you end up in that position against OG, I think you generally will struggle. But if you can apply pressure to OG and force OG to fight on your terms, I think that's where they might struggle a bit in this particular game.
Especially a Storm who's ahead, like straight up take over the game. I like this start though. They're looking to try lane. I think this is a great answer to both an LC support and a Slark. Slark needs levels. You want to trade. You can't do that in a 3-on-3. Just straight up spam this stuff.
So they're trying to push in the first wave here to get lane control. If you look at 23 Savages trying to drag the creeps up to connect to the next lane.
Perfect.
Which will make the Train Protector all the more effective.
Yeah.
He's going to be able to cut off people, get a good Nature's Grasp in. And that just depends on Cuckoo having an okay time, which we saw, like, the Faith Beyond, they would do this all the time on LGD when they were running the offlane Venge. They would just kind of throw him to the wolves in the beginning.
Yeah. I think Slark is actually a pretty good hero against most tri-lanes, though. Especially tri-lanes that don't kill. Because you're going to get a lot of farm. Once you hit level 2 or 3, you're very hard to go on. So as long as you have sustain for the Slark, I think he's going to be able to get quite a lot of CS here in the bottom lane anyway.
Yeah, unfortunately, they control the lane, but they've given up level 2. The one benefit of No-Tail as well, the Q provides easy ways of just killing Archer.
Yeah.
Oh, and they forced the TP from Saksa, and now they just Jakiro back up top, but no lane control there either. Kind of an odd movement from T1, to be honest, but yeah,
I like it. I think it's good. I think that they're throwing off the laning phase. They're not letting it just play out the way OG wants it to. And I think they're making the game weird, which throws off timings, and it gives Storm space mid. And I think they want to play off of the fact that Storm beats Ember in the lane mid, so he's able to get control runes and apply pressure.
That was really cool, because when they did that rotation, it was also just perfectly timed for Whitemon to get a hard camp pull.
Yeah.
So he immediately gets creepy equilibrium, which was what, Kyle, you said, that was kind of a problem. Now they're going to put some pressure onto Seb, where he was probably wondering, where the hell is my creep wave? And he meets Whitemon, who's now in lane, and they're going to move No-Tail over.
Yep, follows Jakiro.
Yeah, so now suddenly they have a troll Treant against Slark Rubik, which is a good lane matchup for them. I think what T1 are doing right now is actually very, very intelligent. They're making OG like respond to the way they want to play the game. And now instead of OG applying pressure to them, they're dictating how this game goes.
It's such a cool idea, that the fact that they can... That starting off with an aggro tri-lane resulted in this. That basically OG, they knew they were going to respond in a certain way that they would be able to get an advantage.
I think they probably talked about this as soon as the draft ended. We go tri-lane, if Rubik comes bottom, I go top, we pressure like this. This way we get like our mid laner come online, and they have like an... It really feels like they're playing with an idea. And I always like seeing that when you see these teams, like for example we said OG, right? They have a lot of different strats. But if T1 feels like they know what they're doing, they might just be the stronger team.
Yeah, again, I was super excited for this matchup because I thought like these were going to be two titans of team fight just smashing against each other. Might be able to get that in this game too.
I think like we did our best to pretend like that last game was close in anybody's game, but realistically, once it was that 15-minute nighttime and OG had total control, like T1 just can't play Dota. This is a very different type of game, and I think we're going to see a much closer one.
Yeah, absolutely. In the first game, I didn't really understand their last pick either, but this time, now that I see the way they've set up their lanes, the way they're trying to approach the game, I think it makes sense to pick this one. Venge is like a pretty good hero for this type of playstyle, where they have 3 lanes that they can kill. They have initiation on all 3 lanes. Slow, you have Venge with the stun, and you have Storm with the pull. So they have the option of like making moves on all the lanes.
he knows he's gonna go for the slight steal, right? Oh, that's good.
Oh,
he's gonna go get the double bounty or the double
beautiful
water rune. That is very smart by Carl. Let's see if he actually wins through this. With the flame guard pulling him back in, he's gonna be able to take out the. If he runs into the second remnant, it'll go away. Oh, we missed out on first blood as a result, but this fight is so fun.
Oh man. That was like a what's the Eastwood movie? The Standoff?
Samael keeps on going. They actually trade supports, but Samael has racked up some serious stats. Is going to be able to get the double kill in this lane. So T1 may have gotten the lanes that they thought they wanted, but ultimately lost that bottom one.
Oh, he had 20 stick too, so he was just full HP playing. That was so cool. They just sat there for 3 seconds.
That was just like both of the players know exactly what's going to happen, and they're like trying to throw off each other's timings. That was beautifully played.
Yeah, and then the fight for top rune where Carl like, man, so good. If either player blinks, they probably get the kill, maybe straight up win the lane, but nobody did.
Bringing 23 Savage to the top lane. Looks like they no longer want to play out this bottom one with Samael getting so big. They're going to try and run down Seb. Seb nicely positions himself to be able to get multiple stuns. They managed to hit him a couple times. He's still bleeding out on damage, but the dual breath didn't hit him, so they have to get a little bit more. Finally, they get the magic missile, and that'll finish him off.
That was just like he mischief dodged the auto attack. That you saw him start the animation of jumping into tree, but got hit just before. That was pretty
That was
nice.
Extremely close. I genuinely thought he was going to get up.
I mean, Seb, still impressing. You know, one eye, boomer fingers, he still got it.
They had top 3 net worth there for a moment, so definitely feeling good about their laning phase.
Yeah, I think despite what T1 did in the early game, it seems like all the OG cores are managing quite fine, and I think these kills bottom really bumped Sumail up.
Oh, hey, Zoxa. It's me, Carl. I've got a double damage rune. Third kill for T1.
Would have preferred if they let Carl grab it. I think Coop got a little... he just stop canceled the attack he had originally. But your trouble is that, you know, this Slark is having a free game. He's now level 6, so he's effectively always on map. And Sumail is the win condition. Hero, we're concerned about T1 finding an answer to.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean,
oh, he's gonna jump after him. Thompson, he's got that remnant left. The damage throw was not enough, and Carl got the last hit there with the DD. Very nice. These two playing up against each other mid is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that they're both very, very important for their respective teams. I think T1 absolutely needs Carl to come online. And I think they need to control the runes for him. This DD rune is what effectively gets him this kill mid, and whoever gets the 8-minute rune is going to have a pretty big advantage.
I want to point out something I think that is pretty cool. Remember when they were top lane, the troll TP top, they went for that kill and Seb got it. The Venge and the Tree walked all the way to bottom lane to keep their TPs up. So if OG tries to get aggressive, they can still respond.
Yeah, I think they learned from the first game, right? They want to be able to play pace. They want to be able to match whatever OG does.
Yeah. Still not dealing with Sumail, who currently has 4,000 net worth, when the second highest is still Thompson at 3. They're going to rotate into Stormseer, though. Carl trying to look for a big win here in the top lane, and this pace is going to net them probably 2 kills here, as both the supports on OG will fall.
Yeah, this does, however, mean that Ember gets a free rune, so let's see what he can do with that response.
See, everybody's beelining for them. Top's going to get controlled by OG. Of all the runes, man.
Comes the response move.
He's up. Carl, he's not afraid even with Thompson here. He says, okay, probably don't have chains. Not really in much danger here. Thompson gonna make use of that arcane rune to make sure he's gonna survive here. Seb gonna receive a helping hand here, a bit of a purge. Dealing with that Jakiro, which is gonna be constant problem for him. Zephyr is gonna be run down by the Ember Spirit.
That's your best.
Knows the radius of this remnant. He's just dancing around it like it's a landmine. Gonna grab a quick stack. And the nice thing about this though for OG is that their carry is completely protected.
Has Sumail played against heroes during this entire series when he didn't want to?
Seriously.
No.
I feel like he's just continuing creeps. Yeah, the OG's doing a great job of moving attention away from their carry.
I mean, we've criticized him, right, for not using his minimap in this game.
He doesn't need to, that's why.
Who cares what's happening?
Yeah,
if we go to player perspective, it's what Cap's looking at right here, bottom lane.
Yeah, if your team plays the way OG does, you genuinely don't need a minimap as a carry player.
Yeah, those are called inside jokes, guys. You gotta give context to the viewer. You say, we criticize them. You didn't say it on broadcast. What are you guys talking about?
We've been joking about it the last couple of days, that if Sumail had an option to hide minimap, he would.
To see more of his screen.
Exactly.
And that's a joke that stemmed from his time on Liquid.
On Liquid.
Dire's top tower.
And that why did that happen?
You would have to ask your best friend William Lee.
Well, yeah, I mean, you told me he died once when he had vision, and you guys just memed him out of existence.
Probably, I don't remember how this started, but it was probably he got ganked mid when there was a ward, and William was watching his player perspective, thinking Sumail's gonna back off here, and then Sumail didn't. And then William was like, Sumail, it's good. And then we all started moving him.
And then it's just set in stone. Carl's out of mana. Oh, well, actually, he does have 6 magic wand charges, so he's kind of baiting him in a little bit for one last jump away, and that jump is far enough. Sumail trying to catch him midway through. 23 Savage right in the middle of all of these heroes. Sumail not too afraid of him, as after, he's going to be a swap back. 2 seconds, he doesn't actually have his ult. Oh no, Sumail. Then T1 realized they made a grave error. Seb is going to be able to get off a good ultimate though, and in return, 23 Savage has overextended himself and will receive tips from OG.
That is unfortunate. I think 23 said it best. Sumail, a bit of a blunder there. I think he was trying to like catch the storm almost, but as you said, the mana was enough to get him out. Savage just kind of returns the favor.
I think the Storm went too far. Like, I didn't expect them to be able to jump that far, so he must have had a Soul Ring that Camilla didn't see coming.
Yeah. Between Soul Ring and I think it was 6 Magic Wand charges. Yeah. Whitemon almost dying there. Thompson still playing the edges, looking for that last light. They are going to be able to get a nice overgrowth, lock him down with the Ice Path followed up. Thompson's dead. Sumail may just fall again if they can somehow get in front of him. They've got to swap. Sumail's going to show. There it is. Swap back. Stunned while the Dark Pact is down. And T1 holding their ground, holding the line around the Tier 1 tower, winning these fights.
And this goes back to what we talked about earlier, right? If you let T1 fight, if you let them play to their limits, you put them in a position where they're allowed to play Dota, they're a fantastic team. And they're showing that here. They're holding their own against OG.
Carl's balling out. He's 5-0-3. But, like, his score doesn't really reflect, like, how much he's, like, had to play Dota this game. Pretty much dueling Thompson since minute 2. Playing middle and pouncing into Tier 1 towers, my friend.
Yeah, he was having a totally free game. Don't you just kind of like chill out for a while?
I think the Storm thing, it would have been a big play, you know? He didn't expect the Soul Ring. He gets that. We're talking about how sick of a play that is.
That's true. That's true.
This is what Dota comes down to ultimately, like these small things. And I think right now, when it comes to the micro decision making, T1 looks slightly sharper. I think OG, when it came to the macro and like the decision making and understanding how to execute their drafts, that's really been their strength.
Yeah.
And I think when OG's forced to play these micro decision making games, that's when they sometimes tend to suffer.
No, it's a really good point, because like this game, there's no huge like strategical advantage or edge OG can lean on. They've just got to ball out. Like they just got to play Dota and hope for the best.
They're going to pop out, but at the same time, T1 did smoke over, so it's going to be a full-out team fight where Carl is going to target down the Rubik first. They're going to be able to get on Thompson as well. No root just yet. Slide into a chain out. They're going to be able to get away on him. The core survived. The supports will die.
It's so hard to play into security. Like you can just see, you know, maybe in the past you had experience playing like World of Warcraft, you know, standing just slightly out of range of the fire or the roots, but in this case, if you catch it for a second, I think Snowtail was saving W there, but ends up just kind of standing in Macrofire and dies to a root troll.
Sumail did get solo mid-tower as a result.
So this is what OG does so well, and I noticed them doing in all these games. Like, yeah, they lost the team fight, but they traded 1 for 2, and they only effectively lost their 2 supports. T1 burnt a lot of cooldowns, they brought their carry to the fight, and Sumail's just free farming still. Sumail's getting to choose when he wants to fight against heroes. So even though like he's died twice here, a little bit uncharacteristically, it's only been because of his own mistakes. It's not because T1's able to apply any pressure to his game. And it's pretty telling. It means that OG are heavily in control of the game. And I think if you ask the OG players right now, like, who's winning, they're like, we're dominating this game. Everything's going the way we are expecting it.
Yeah, I mean, Thompson got away with his pretty greedy build as well, maxed out W, and like, Maelstrom already. Like, he's just able to farm now very efficiently. Dead.
Jump in, jump out.
Looking good.
Rune spawn bottom, ultimately DD for Thompson. So you're saying that like OG probably thinks that they feel really good about this game. Dota Plus actually has T1 up 66%. Do you agree with that? Are you saying like just OG thinks that this game is going fine, but it's not actually the pace, or what?
I think OG are happy because they're in control. They're setting the pace of the game, and I think that's what they want to be doing. And they know that as long as it's like the game is on them to mess up. They know that T1's going to respond to them. They just need to predict in what way they're going to do it and then react to what's happening. And I think as T1, you don't feel good because you're always playing the response game to the enemy team. You're not like if you notice, trolls in every engagement. Every time we move our camera somewhere, there's a troll there, and he's being poked, he's being harassed. But Carl is balling out of control. So I mean, Carl is feeling himself for sure. He's enjoying this thoroughly.
Now, you say they won't feel good reacting all the time. Is that just like a general rule, or do like some players or teams prefer reacting to the enemy making moves?
So I think you enjoy reacting when you're killing them and then you're getting something out of it. You know that you're progressing your game. You're getting closer to where you want to be. And I mean, obviously they have been, but I think like if you think about all the small things that are going in their favor, all it takes is one of these fights not to, and then suddenly we're gonna feel like Stark is unkillable and we can't do anything about him. So I think from OG's perspective, they feel like they can lose 10 fights, but as soon as they win 1, the map is going to open up for them.
Okay, so T1 has to parry perfectly every single time.
Exactly.
And we haven't seen them slip up yet.
No, exactly. I think what T1's doing is like perfect, but OG also are aware of that. Like, he needs to keep going.
And I love the
White Mount quickly killed T1. Or actually, they stole Macropire on Soxa. That's a big pickup.
Sumail, he went for the Dark Pact cooldown, and it's because he's just kind of the win condition. And like Aiden is saying, like, his deaths are kind of on him. It's really tough for T1 to deal with Slark in this game, unless Troll or Storm just gets like an item ahead. And even then, it's still a little rough because you're playing with no tail in your back pocket. So I think that's part of the reason Carl's like skipping the Orchid here, because it's still not killing Slark. Even if he can't save himself, if no tail's just there, that entire item is now squandered, and I really like the Kai Fang for that reason. Better fit here.
It feels like T1's strategy to win this game is they're going to try to play like a ball so Slark doesn't feel comfortable running into them, and then they're going to try to kill off the other heroes. They want to leave Slark for last and like deal with him once they get there.
And you said early on, like, the strategy for T1, win the lanes, which they didn't actually do, but the other thing you said was they need to stave off OG's aggression, and, like, during this crucial period of time where Venge, Storm, and Troll all need items. And we're about to reach the end of that, right? Cuckoo is about to get his Aghanim set.
And that is huge. Like, yeah, Venge doesn't help too much with the Slark, but it is a great defensive save for the Pounce. But it's also really nice against Monkey King. You can get him out of the Wukong. We saw it used offensively to get Slark killed earlier.
And swapping Monkey out of...
And Aghanims doesn't give charges to the Slark. In addition, it's like 2 lives, right? So you can just be this frontliner that your team kind of needs, plus damage steroid for the Troll.
Oh, stole a Macropire. That's actually going to do enough damage to be able to quickly kill Carl. Great play from Soxa and Sumail, and a big pickup too. 599 bounty for Carl.
The sentry, was that just he didn't have vision of the Slark because he got close?
I'm gonna go for it here. Cuckoo does have this. Oh, he actually doesn't have the Aghanim just yet. The Overgrowth just off the mark there. A little awkward. 23 Savage not able to catch up to Thompson. It's just this trio that is forcing a pretty big response out of T1, but the Axe is now here for Cuckoo.
I'm loving just No Tail is just so good in these games. Like, he always seems to be right place, right time.
I think that's always been one of his biggest strengths as a player. I mean, his understanding of the map, I think, like, for as long as I can remember, I've always thought is like probably one of the best in the world. Even back when he used to play carry and used to play these Nagas and stuff, he always knew like where to be, where to cut, what waves to be on. And I think, yeah, he's utilizing it perfectly here, even as a support player.
Yeah, like if Thompson doesn't have No Tail with him there, he just kind of feeds and he's like, what's he doing, guys? But No Tail with the immediate cleanse of the initial stun. Like the root, we heard the root animation and it didn't seem like he spent enough time rooted.
Yeah, so let me tell you a secret. I learned this when I was playing with Sumail. When you have these really over-aggressive player types, like Sumail, when he's mid, or Thompson, you kind of get it for free almost, because you know they're going to run into trouble. Because you've seen it happen so many times that you can easily position yourself behind them. And if the enemy team doesn't respond to these players, they're just going to get so much out of the match.
Nice long jump from Carl is going to be able to catch. Oh no, Soxa caught him with the telekinesis and stole ball.
I really like that point because I've had the experience of the opposite kind of player, which is passive to a fault. And the trouble is when you play around them and they don't push their limits, you end up feeling completely useless because nothing's happening on the map. When you play around these guys that know what to do, that get in there, that create action and chaos, suddenly you're feeling good but perfect.
I feel like occasionally our casts just serve as a sort of therapy for Kyle to be able to get over his former team experiences.
I'm just here for the Dota cap. It's nice to watch good players at the best of their abilities.
Long jump over. Zeb gonna be caught, but immediately there is gonna be the purge coming out from No Tail, but they still can keep going. Duel going out, just trying to keep the Storm in place, but it's gonna be a duel that is actually not one, just ever so barely. Turns around, nice stun, but mana, okay, they don't want to chase any longer, and it's probably for the...
Love Zeb's builder. He had the Echo Saber queued up initially, but I think Mage Slayer, even as the offlaner, is just the right choice. It's something I love about OG is that they're always getting these items that are right for the game to help out the heroes that count. In this case, Rubens and Clark.
I'm interested to see how this Mage Slayer plays out.
Oh! It's out of the magic missile. Thinking about pursuing here, especially with the Stormsphere being chased away there a bit. He can't come back to join the team fight perhaps, and they're going to be able to hit a nice 2-man stun. Cuckoo may be the first to die, but remember he's got that extra life. Throws out a magic missile, keeping Sumail back. T1 do a pretty good job. They do have BKB on the troll, so they might be turning this. BKB, there it goes. Who's he going to target? They swap back in No Tail, which is who they want to be able to gun for. They finally get off the Sumail, and Sumail, he doesn't have any mana. They lock him down, finish him off. Nicely played by T1. 50 seconds, he's dead for T1, turning on a dime. They're so good at kiting team fights back and re-engaging.
Yeah,
they're battlers, they're brawlers, and OG are playing to their strengths.
Yeah, I think this game they have a draft that can play the game.
Yes.
I think OG really managed to corner him in the last draft and put him in a position that they didn't feel like they knew what to do.
Yeah.
But this time around, they're playing perfectly. I think one of the key things for these team fights, Vengeful Spirit is one of the best heroes against saves because
It's deceptive because OG, they kill the Venge and they feel good, right? But Cuckoo is fine with that. Suddenly his spells are back up. A great setup. And then Whitemon gets the double ice path to ensure the kills. And 23 Savage, I was like, man, you're in some big trouble. But he had to save the ulti because if he pops it while he's still in Wukong, then the whole fight just takes place under Seb. And T1 are really just done for. But because he gets it off so much later, Sumail's now out of position with no ultimate. They have no Wukong. They really have just no save left. And suddenly things turn out A-okay. But still anybody's game.
Absolutely. Anybody could do this still.
What do you think of the Aghanims on Sumail? Because I feel like that's an item for when you're snowballing hard. Like the double pounce is nice, but you know, it doesn't feel like he's strong enough to just kind of get into the middle of T1 and battle at the moment.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I think the idea is probably just to be able to get in, kill one, get out, or catch Storm, chase him down, like just more disable, more mobility. I think it's always hard to question mobility. It's always so strong, especially in these types of games.
Is there any way it can answer like the swap? Right? He pounces one, they get swapped out of it, but he can still keep going, right?
Yeah.
Gallant Radiant, the fortified
question. The thing is, I just fear, like, this is the Venge factor. Troll's just a strong carry. Even though Sumail's slightly ahead in the net worth, look at the itemization. It's just Falcon Blade, Maelstrom, BKB, the Venge behind you. Like, that Venge counts as that extra item. And that means people won't really be able to trade too well against 23.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for OG, it's not about the carry killing the other carry. It's more about how can you kill out supports.
Yeah.
I think both the supports of T1 have been doing a great job of knowing their limit and surviving on the silver account.
Oh, they managed to catch him, but there is going to be the defensive swap. 23 Savage is going in. He's going to try and deal with Thompson first, but a stolen swap from Sox is going to be able to get him out. But the Overgrowth catching Sumail again while the Dark Pack was down. Cuckoo dies, but immediately comes back as a Spirit, catching Seth, swapping him out of his own ultimate and keeping him in place. 23 Savage is keeping the rest at bay. His team can deal with leftover behind Seb. Go straight for Roche.
I mean, it's supports. Say just said it. Like, they just straight up win that fight. Zephyr also has Holy Locket, Heal Talent, and Living Armor. So, yeah, you can initiate on my Stormer Troll. I'm just going to keep you alive. It's a ridiculous amount of heal and armor. And then there's an Ice Path on 3 hero line. Like, Sumail doesn't do damage.
Something very interesting that Zephyr also did this game is he maxed out Leech Seed. I don't think I've ever seen that done before, but to be honest, I've been on the panel. It's been hard to see exact skill builds for people, but it makes a lot of sense to me when you see the game play out and how it plays out. If anything goes on the backline, he drops Leech Seed, they all get healed, they're playing like a ball, so it just gives all of them so much effective health.
Yep. 35% healing increase as well, so obviously it doesn't help you with your grasp, but it just ensures that you're going to have even more sustain for your allies.
Yeah.
And they're really not able. I feel like you want to find Whitemon in the back of Jakiro, but it's just not a possibility. And even if you were to do so, Cuckoo has the swap. The Venge really seems like it's paying off. Like, we questioned it, but it gives them that ability to ball up, to your point. Because you have all this sustain and a little bit of the damage amplification, so your carry just all of a sudden 2k ahead with an Aegis.
I think the difficult part of the game for T1 was really getting to this point. Getting to the point where they can ball up. OG now, I think they're going to have to try to split them up. They're going to have to force these heroes out of position and force like multiple initiations at once. They have the tools to do it. They just got to be able to like get the Ember going on one target, get the Stark in on another. Because if they're all balling down on the same hero, it's just going to be costly.
Yeah, one nice pick off the BKB from Thompson is caught by the overgrowth from Zephyr. Still has decent amount of magic immunity time, but is it going to be enough to be able to get him out of this hell? Is T1 surrounding him with so many heroes, and he's out of remnants. He is out of 2. Double kill for Carl.
Thompson, BKB into the tree. A really nice job by Zephyr. Another reason the hero seems very strong in T1's hands. They needed their own tool of BKB.
Yeah.
They've got it now. Sanjian's on the control. It really feels like it's T1's game to lose now. 24-10. You got to be feeling yourselves. Still anybody's game in terms of like the gold differential, but you know, if anyone would agree with us, it's probably Seb, who hates the fact that you see net worth on the top of the screen, because that has nothing to do with who's winning in a game of Dota. It's about timing, it's about team composition. And it does feel like Dota Plus has that same idea, because even less than 1,000 gold, 81% win rate, you gotta figure T1's gonna outscale.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've weathered the storm, so to speak. Like, the OG needed to take control early, and they're still absolutely low. They gotta play these fights more.
23 Savage was very far forward, and OG looked to be able to potentially punish him. Not going to be able to get the immediate duel. The swap from Soxa still stolen and still managed to get out No Tail. Bounce forward, Sumail does manage to get on top of the support, so there is going to be Whitemon down. An important member of T1 to be able to stay alive in these team fights. The swap back in, managed to get the duel. 23 Savage gets the duel off. Sumail keeping him inside of the Wukong's command, where he will die there. OG finally managed to win a team fight, a big one at that, where they get 3, and Carl thought maybe they could turn around on a Seb, but Seb does have Sumail right behind him, so even if they do manage to kill this Monkey King, they may be losing both of them here as... Oh
no, 23 Savage, what have you done?
Lose together, win together, slay
Bad time for
lose
lag.
together, win together, slay together, slay together,
What?
slay together.
So,
Was
like
he
we talked
lagging
about,
30 seconds ago? He was farming tower by himself?
this is the thing, right? If they ever drop this ball, they don't have the positioning, they don't have the way they don't position their heroes the way they were doing earlier. This is what's going to happen. And OG are always on the prowl. I think they're going to take over the entire map now, try to clear out the vision, and then make sure that they are able to continue chasing the T1 heroes down once they spawn.
He's got 196 extra agility.
Damn.
Can't click the Monkey King, don't click me then.
Please.
This is very unfortunate, because that was a stolen Venge stun, and I think Carl might see something as well.
Yeah, they're going to be able to catch both of them. They do manage to finish off Seb, which was what the original trap was laid for, but it doesn't matter.
53 stacks on Sumail now. He has 212 bonus agility.
Yeah, it's almost as, I mean, more than the 196 I pointed out 10 seconds ago.
Focus on observing, Cap.
I'm leading this TriCast and doing observing. The least you could do is listen to me when I talk, Kyle.
So focused, dude. The Dota is fantastic. Okay, so we already see the big mistake has just happened, which is somehow 23 Savage is dead, alone in front of tower, then comes out immediately BKBs, which I think is actually a mistake here, because suddenly he can't, like, he's backing with BKB, right? And to your point, Aiden, they now don't have the tools to properly position in a fight. He has to use ulti. He's swapped in, wins the duel, but look at how this fight happens now, right? Everybody's zoned by the Wukongs, and he's just stuck inside of it. This is when Monkey King plays well into Troll. If you can force this, you're going to always be happy.
Yeah, it's just the Monkey King arena here just zones off anything, but they really need the Venge to be present when they take the fight.
Sumail, he still got some stats going, and he's not slowing down whatsoever. These pounces are staying on top of these supports. They cannot seem to get away. Swap back in, No Tail. Now he's in an awkward position. They're going to jump on a 23 Savage, turns around, pops a BKB before the stuns come in for the Monkey King, but again, he's going to retreat with that BKB. No, he's not. He's going to finish off Sumail. Turns around real quick, blows him up, does manage to get the swap back in, and 23 Savage heals up just a little bit. Can he finish off Seb before and stay alive? He does. Thompson's going to come in, trying to finish off 23 Savage, does get that one. With the BKB, might be able to get 2 here. Zephyr, just one slide away from dying, actually does die to Soxa. Gaining up 2, TPing out, doesn't leave a remnant behind.
No mana for the pull. We were talking to No Tail the other day. He said you want to find it the best because you can use it when you're winning or you're losing. It's the best flame or a way to keep your team motivated, as we once again hit a pause. Oh, but it's nice to take a break some.
Yeah, this has been a very, very exciting game.
I like this.
Nice to get the pulse down a bit. Absolutely.
Why are you guys looking at me?
You're in charge.
Okay, analysts, please talk about this game state.
It's paused currently.
Oh.
Nothing much is happening.
That's a good observation. I didn't realize that.
You're welcome. That's
We have a
10K MMR
replay.
analysis
You
for you
can
right
you
there.
can break down this replay
Feel
that
free,
I
Kyle.
shouted over.
Well,
Now,
No-Tail
where
does
were
not
we?
have his W available. Sumail uses Dark Pact. Then you're going to see Sumail go right back in again at Dark Pact. However, he does not press his ultimate button and gets immediately silenced as it fades by Carl just before he tanked that stolen Venge stun. So, Sumail dies as No-Tail had no ability to save his carry.
Sick timing from Carl. That was
Yes,
really good.
That was very good. And that's what makes playing into the Slark so difficult, because it's like, of all heroes that kind of demonstrate the frustrating nature of Dota, it's like, did you get the Orchid? Okay, well, you've won the fight. Oh, did he hit Q or R just as you did? Well, you've lost the fight. And them's the breaks.
I think you gotta love to gamble if you want to play Slark. It's like
Yeah.
a little bit of it, right? It's the mind game of, am I gonna Q or am I not? So we were having this discussion on the panel earlier about, what if you showed mana bars for both sides? Like if you could see the enemy team's mana bars. A hero like Slark would instantly die, right? It would just ruin the concept of Dark Pact, because you would just see the mana bar
Yeah.
move. So it was a hard no on my end.
Indeed. And I will say I would also love if we both play... Oh, hang on. Hold up.
Not going to be able to get away. Maybe his spirit can get out? As they do have the Tree Protector on the way. Yeah, they're kind of realizing they're not going to go for the spirit at all. In fact, if anything, they maybe swap back into Doom here. Seb, going to be silenced. Carl not fully committing to this one, though. We haven't seen the Slark just yet. Cuckoo is going to try and start backing away. Thompson's looking for some of these heroes. Sumail pounces forward. He's going to go for Whitemon here. Starts stealing some of those stacks. Tries to stick on top of him and should be able to get that kill on the right-hand side. Thompson does catch the other support at the same time. That's going to be Zephyr. At the same time, Sumail has to be careful here, especially with the Cuckoo. His spirit is going to get burned out, but he could buy back if he wants to and rejoin this fight as a full-out hero. No longer the case. No longer an option. T1 will retreat, giving this fight to OG.
The LC shard is so good because that BKB time gives you those extra seconds to almost always have Dark Pact back. Yeah, and I thought Sumail had overextended once again, but No-Tail this time was ready to save.
Yeah. And if you just think about this game, like, how many times did we just see T1 absolutely like outplay, play to their limit, do all these small things right? And despite that, like, the game is fairly even.
Yeah. No probability back in OG.
Yeah.
At the same time though, like this is the trouble. Like you're playing against OG and you make a pretty big mistake up top. Give away that Aegis advantage that if you swap roles, maybe OG utilized to get a.
They're just so good at applying the pressure, right? They're always in your face, and you're always forced to play extremely sharp. And the second you stop, that's what happens.
Oh, we got it!
Just ready to get the pounce. The team is coming in, but it's too late. Carl's already dead. Double damage of Sumail made short work of Carl and OG. They could just keep going. Certainly are going to be looking for somebody here. Zephyr not spotted.
Carl has buyback though. Would not be surprised to see.
Yeah, considering how aggressively T1 is positioned, even though they're missing their mid laner, Seb, he sees this. He's spotted some heroes right now. Swap back into the ice path. That's a good hold, but he did not manage to get it in. Snare out. The troll did not get lucky, and Cuckoo will die for what he thought was going to be an Ember Spirit kill. Pounce through the Spirit, doesn't actually latch on top of him. And that is going to be the Spirit being gone as well. I can't believe T1 tried that. It was a risk, and it was not a calculated one.
Yeah, this is looking really, really good for OG now. They're knocking at their door. Hopefully forcing two buybacks.
Tower is in turmoil.
And this is where things get a little spooky, just because suddenly OG have this ability to play, like, T1 were kiting while they were controlling the area, but now suddenly, OG's reach potential has doubled. They have the Aghanims on both cores. Zeb is able to play trees.
Radiant's middle tower
and so it's just so hard now for the Jakiro tree to set up like we saw them do so effectively in the mid game, because suddenly Sumail's just gunning for them.
Yeah, OG's getting the initiation in all these last fights. They're getting the kind of jumps that they want. They want these fights when T1 is not balled up. T1 needs the ball where it feels impossible for OG to commit in. But it might be reaching that point where Sumail is now tanky enough to go in, knowing that he has No-Tail to purge him, and he can just apply all the pressure.
He has the Scotty as well, so Silver Edge to boot. Feeling very good. And it also feels like a lot of these fights are starting when he already has some stacks built up. It's definitely been helpful.
So you notice top here, he just goes in, pushes the wave a little bit, makes sure it's going in the right direction, and now he's already moving over to the next pit.
No-Tail's camping pit. I'm sure he's aware that this will be up momentarily, and there it is.
T1, they know this timing as well. They're sweeping over to the Roshan pit. You have no idea how low it is. Now they get some vision. Cuckoo spots that Sumail was trying to solo it. Both teams just gonna hold their side of the high ground around Roshan.
Yeah, and this is like a classic standoff, right? Neither team really wants to fight into their team's vision. So now it's gonna be like a little bit of a strategic game of who can get the smoke. You're trying to wait here to get a timing where the enemy team is not ready. So something that you might see teams do around this time is, if you look at the clock up top, it says 33:40, right? So you know at every complete minute the camps spawn. So you know that the heroes are going to be around the jungle at that timing when the camps are spawning. Because you know they're grouped up, there's not a lot of farm on the map available to them. So that's a potential timing for you to make a move. But it seems like OG, they recognize that they're just balled up. Could send tops onto the side lane, push it out, get more info, and then make a play based off that.
Oh, grabs the double image and manages to get the pounce, and it's going to force out the swap from Cuckoo and probably get him killed as he's pulled back in by the telekinesis. His spirit will manage to get out at least.
No buyback though.
Yeah.
However, who cares, right? You're still in the game. Sumail's being a lot more disciplined as well, though, with the ultimate usage. It's now preemptive, which I think is the key.
The Storm Spirit had to go all the way back to Fountain, so may not be here unless he wants to make a real gun at it and go for a long, long zip. Keep the vision inside. Sumail's double damage is going to wear out. Storm's going to start TPing onto the outpost. Thompson is in. Thompson's going straight up for those supports. Sumail, not sure where he's going to, but 23 Savage is a little bit isolated here. Cuckoo's trying to keep pace to make sure he can swap back 23 Savage to get him away from Sumail, while Seb is scaring back the rest of these heroes. Thompson's going to be able to finish off Zephyr. That's going to be first. 23 Savage looks at Zeb. Carl commits with the Aghanim Scepter, pulling them both in, but inside of that Monkey King ultimate, they don't feel great. Again, the stolen swaps coming out from Saksa is going to be able to keep his cores feeling good and feeling aggressive. His telekinesis toss back, chained up together. Toss, duel going out. No tail, they turn around quickly, kill him. Winner, and Carl gets away before Sumail can hunt him down. If Sumail doesn't kill, he's going to be able to go for the supports and may still be able to catch Carl. Carl, no mana. Sumail pounced on top of him. They catch him. 4 dead on the side of T1. And now Roshan is going to go the way of OG.
So this team fight, I don't see any other player than Topson doing this. But you notice how he just straight up into no vision, rolls in with the Ember. He knows that they're there. He's playing off of the fact that he knows that they're positioned there. That's how 95% of supports are going to position themselves when their cores are running into the roach pit. And they get this team fight where there's like basically 4 fights going on at once. Topson's chasing supports. You have Sumail chasing 23 Savage, and you're forcing T1 to not be able to use that swap to just save whoever's getting initiated on. It's really, really smart gameplay coming out from OG, and they're doing a lot of this blind. They're not playing off of vision. They're playing off of where they think they're doing, what they think they're doing, and their own game sense.
Yep, they're just forcing skirmishes. Yes. And they're ensuring that supports die, which they were unable to do earlier in the game. And I even love the way like they're itemizing with this knowledge of like how they're gonna play. Thompson is going refresher. Like he is playing for like these quick fights. It's all about survival for OG. Create chaos. T1, they need a more coordinated method to win fights. Like they need to kind of control. You saw even there, when Savage got killed, it was with like 3 or 4 heroes collapsing. You actually had targets and big ice paths. OG, they're just, you know, pre-ulting on Sumail, spamming dark packs. You got No Tail just kind of waiting the wings to get off front. And Thompson's gonna have 10 remnants. How do you hit a man who's invulnerable and flying through you?
He probably gonna buy the shard too, right? So every kill he gets, that's on the bonus remnant. I wouldn't be surprised to see it right after the refresher.
Very nice items for Sumail to pick. I think that makes sense just because it boosts your regen time when you're off map.
It's just not really anything he needs to flicker. He has enough purge with the dark pact at this point that the lifesteal is just better for him.
Paladin Sword's doubly effective because he's also got the shard too,
Precisely.
right?
Good point. Slark Shroud is so broken. Troll will end up attacking no one if used.
Can actually save against the semi-black hole coming out from the Storm Spirit with the Aghanim Scepter.
So yeah, I think for OG it's going to be important to continue taking fights like that, where they can predict where their supports are going to be positioned and Topson can just roll in. He's just continuously going to do this, I'm sure. He's just going to jump into the backlines. He knows he has like 5 different jumps, so eventually he'll find them. There are only so many spots that they could be hiding in.
He also
And the 25 talent, right?
Yeah, he talented totally for searing chains as well. So you're just going to see him zipping back and forth, spamming chains. There we go.
Cuckoo did still manage to get the swap, but 23 Savage can't hit him right now. Sumail, his ultimate was used, still has the Depth Shroud. They're going to turn around and start doing some damage with the pull in onto Carl. They do something to Sumail, but he's going to be popping his BKB. 23 Savage responds in kind here. Cuckoo's going to fall, Spirit Form. They do manage to get the nice lockdown. Macro Fire going out. The Ice Path can actually lock down. Top the refresher. BKB still potentially up. Chase for Carl doesn't actually quite get him. Meanwhile, 23 Savage is just getting kited around and ripped apart by the rest of OG. Now with no carry, T1 very likely going to be dying here unless Carl could do something magical by himself, but he just doesn't have it in him. Doesn't have level 25 nor the shard. Wow, GG is called. OG will take this second game here against T1. T1 definitely putting up a much better fight, but you gotta think back to that moment. 23 Savage just way overconfident in his positioning, not respecting perhaps OG's aggression enough, and I feel like that's going to come back to haunt him, because this is a story that has been there for 23 Savage.